So I'm really pumped about this next session. I think you guys are going to get a tremendous amount of, not just value, you hear that all the time, oh, you're going to get value, but literally, yes. Oh, and you're not leaving. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Ryan Jayton. Love you, brother. Thanks for all you do, man. Travel safe. All right. So what we're going to do now, this next session is going to be completely awesome. First of all, it's going to be two of my favorite people, not just in the industry, but on the planet Earth, coming up here, having a little bit of a fireside chat, talking about, sort of the journey of entrepreneurship, but also giving you guys an insight into really what the future could look like for you, when you build relationships. A little bit like what we've been talking about. Even, I think Rich was talking about that this morning, about the power of building relationships. Really iconic dude coming up next. He's done over $40 million in sales himself, but really sparked and launched the careers of a lot of people that you've probably heard of. So I'm not going to get too much into that. I want to give that honor to Misha. Misha's going to come up here right now, and he's going to conduct this pretty cool interview. You guys are in for a massive treat. I got to tell you, I'm really excited for you, and I'm actually excited to hear what they have to say as well. So let's get it up right now for the man of the hour, Mr. Misha Wilson. All right, guys. You ready to end the event strong? Yes. Home stretch? Yes. Last couple hours. We got your full attention still? Yes. We sure? Yes. All right. Cool. So JT alluded to it a moment ago. This is going to be one of the more special presentations that we have here at this event. We have someone here that I'm just honored to have, and really, again, humbled that he'd go ahead and make the trip out here to come to one of our events, one of the most influential leaders in our marketplace, and someone who all around is just a complete and total badass at everything he does. He's done, as JT mentioned, now well over $40 million in sales with his companies. He's one of the best in the world when it comes to conversions and influence and sales conversions specifically. And really what's cooler, I think, about this individual than his own personal accomplishments is the fact that his students have been able to go out and create their own empires. It's not only just about him creating success, it's about the impact that he creates in his students. And his students combined have gone ahead and done well over $100 million in total sales, building up 8-figure empires. And just one of the sharpest guys, someone who I get mentorship from, someone who I look up to, and someone who I consistently tune into for help for my own personal business, and someone I'm honored to have at this event. The one and only Tim Irway. Come on up, brother. Thank you, boss.
Where do you want me?
Take a seat.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. How you doing? Awesome. Awesome. Let's finish strong.
I know, right?
Hi, guys. I see some familiar faces in the audience.
There's a few here.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, hey, once again, thank you for coming out, man. It's an honor to have you here. And I mentioned it just kind of a moment ago to everyone. I gave them the 30,000-foot view. And I know a lot of the people in the room right now know who you are and know the impact that you've created. But just to go ahead and start out, for the few people out there that might not know who you are, can you give them just a few minutes or however long you want to go, just in your backstory a little bit?
Damn it. The origin story.
The origin story.
I will be as succinct as possible.
Perfect.
So, how many of you, when you were in school, realized that you didn't like structure and didn't like authority and didn't like to be told what to do? All right. So I was the epitome of that. I actually failed pretty much from the 6th grade on. So I didn't know what was wrong with me. I don't think there was such a thing as ADD at that time. And believe it or not, I'm 41. So I'm very, very blessed to have 4 kids, and my oldest is 19. I just found out he's going to jump school for the Army, which is amazing. So I'm super proud of him. Yeah. So anyway, But interestingly enough, there's a lot of similarities between my son and I at that age. So my son was very rebellious, didn't like authority, and we butted heads a lot. And I saw a lot of myself in him. And so a lot of teachers lost their faith in me and didn't really have high expectations for me. In fact, one of my teachers, when I got kicked out of regular school and went to continuation school, does anyone know what continuation school is? So continuation school, if you don't know, is where you go to classes for about 4.5 hours, in my case, in California, and you hopefully get enough credits to get a high school degree. There's less structure, in fact, in my school, they allowed people to smoke on campus, kids to smoke on campus. That's how bad the school was. And I actually dropped out of continuation school. Yeah, I swear to God.
So that's
True
a new
story.
standard.
Yeah, so I dropped out of high school. I did not get a high school diploma. That's how much I did not like authority, I did not like structure, and I did not like being told what to do. Interestingly enough, that doesn't work for business. So I knew I was headed down a dark path. I was making some poor decisions. I did, however, have at least enough insight to realize my weaknesses and that I needed to change, or I was going to end up like my general manager of Burger King, of fast food, who'd been there for a really long time. And that was the track I was on. I became a manager at a pretty young age. And he was a great guy, but he was super unhappy. So I knew I had to make a change. And so I thought, you know what? I'll go in the military. So I did. I enlisted. I actually was going to go Army, decided, I wanted to do something that was not military, or not war fighting, but search and rescue. I was interested in stuff like that. So I went to the Coast Guard. Anyone know what the Coast Guard is? Yep. Okay, awesome. So Semper Fi. Semper Paratus, sorry. I've got a Marine friend.
Oh, God.
So he says Semper Fi, or Semper Fi. I'm like, no, Semper Paratus. Semper Paratus, always ready. Anywho, so did that, did my 4 years. It was very humbling, and it's the exact opposite of what I'd been used to in the past. Lots of structure, lots of authority. And fortunately, I learned some skills that translated and transferred to business, and that is how to be disciplined and have structure and understand the importance of strategy. And strategy is of the utmost importance in business. Would you guys agree? Yes. Yeah. So that was kind of my start of turning my life around. Became a firefighter after that. I was a volunteer for a while. Got out of active duty military, was a firefighter. I was the skinniest firefighter in all of Alaska, and probably the slowest to don on all the gear. People used to make fun of me. You had to pass a time limit to getting everything donned to go and fight the fire, and I was just when I took my test, I was barely by the skin of my teeth got by, and everything was so big on me, so it was because I was even skinnier. It was ridiculous. So anywho, that was, so went from that to, military, kind of sort of military structure, and I thought, you know what, this still sucks. My time is controlled and owned by somebody else. This is not cool. I want to have control and ownership of my time. So I said, you know what, I'm going to be an entrepreneur. And the seed had been planted before. I did network marketing when I was 16 years old and read Think and Grow Rich. How many people read Think and Grow Rich? Yeah. And and the truth is you can't really think and grow rich. I found that out. You actually have to do something.
Sounds good.
Yeah, it sounds awesome, right?
What the hell happened?
I was like, man, I just need to think more.
I know.
So
visualize it.
But it totally planted the seed for entrepreneurship for me. And I knew, you know what, if I want real freedom, I have to create that freedom for myself. And the interesting thing that I realized is freedom comes through structure. Freedom comes through discipline. Freedom comes through accountability. It's really weird and counterintuitive, but it's true. And I started affiliate marketing, which all of you are aware of that business model, which is great. It was super fun. I did this number for a little while. I was like, woohoo, success. Yep. Oh shit. What happened? a lot of skinned knees and scrapes and falling down on your face and then getting up and recovering. And Misha knows the journey very well because he's been there as well. And I got to observe some of that, which was kind of fun. So like, oh yeah.
Well, thank you. Glad it was fun for you.
It was, but what was really fun for me was to see how much faster Misha was at recovering than I was. And how much how much fast. Can I get water or something from somebody?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Water. A beer?
Okay, beer. Yeah, I saw
Beer?
those beers back there.
There we go.
Yeah, let's do a beer.
do it.
You guys cool if we drink beer in
beers?
front of you?
It's that time of day.
Yeah. Okay, shit's about to get real.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, hey now. So we saw these back there because JT cannot live without beer. This is his fuel. It's what keeps him going. So I saw him back there. I'm like, oh, I can't wait to get off stage so we can have a beer. It's going to be awesome. And this is even better. So awesome. Yeah. No.
Not yet.
You do not want us having tequila on stage.
Cheers, boss.
Cheers. We want to stay fully clothed. And cheers to you guys. Sunday afternoon, you made it.
Yep.
You're almost at the finish line. It's within sight. Awesome. An IPA. So affiliate marketing was great. And the interesting thing about affiliate marketing, which you guys know, is it gives you the opportunity to learn skill sets that are really valuable, like traffic generation, and a little bit of influence as well, copywriting and things like that. Super valuable skills. And what's really cool about affiliate marketing that I love, and I love what you've created for people, is that there's none of the bullshit that goes along with, or not none of it, but less of the bullshit. Yep. And by the bullshit, I mean hiring employees, creating org charts, roles and responsibilities, firing people, dealing with drama, like I could go on and on, overhead, payroll, just
stuff we have to do.
Stuff we have to do. And you guys get to just like learn a couple of skills, drive traffic, learn how to influence people, and you can actually achieve a lifestyle business, which is awesome. Would you guys agree? Yes. So when you guys started out, did you start out wanting to create a huge empire where you had 800,000 team members and like you were responsible for the lives of a bunch of people, and was that your goal, or did you just want to like quit your job and create something for you, some sort of a little freedom? Yeah, absolutely. So I was just like you guys. I originally started, I was like, I just want to like make some money and be able to do it consistently instead of that roller coaster ride that I was on. And unfortunately, what I learned is that no tactic creates lasting success. Would you agree with that, Misha?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's important to have skills and it's important to employ tactics in the context of strategy. Does that make sense? Yeah. Cool. So that's what I learned, and that's the journey that took me from this to this. And there was still little dips and little valleys, but it was always like being able to incrementally get better and improve. And I went from being like you to saying, you know what, I want a lifestyle business. I want the laptop lifestyle. I want to travel and just like be on the beach and drink beer and have money coming into my inbox on autopilot, right? That was my mindset. And what I learned is all of those things come as a result of discipline, of accountability, of strategy, right? So all the things that I'd rebelled against in my childhood. And so if I could leave you guys with anything, so JT, one of his favorite people to listen to is Jocko Willink's. You guys familiar with him? He was a Navy SEAL, and he has a saying that I really like, and it's discipline equals freedom.
Yep.
Isn't that cool? And it's like, it's so counterintuitive. It's so strange to think discipline equals freedom, but it does. Because if you do today what most people won't, you can live the rest of your life like most people can't. And it's pretty fucking cool. Mm-hmm. Anyway, everywhere.
No, that was perfect.
Right.
And I know one of our mentors that we work with, Keith Cunningham, has something similar. He says, there's no such thing as financial freedom without financial discipline.
Exactly.
It's 100% true. So I know you touched on, the fact that tactical success doesn't necessarily equal long-term success. And there's a stark contrast between tactic and strategy. And I think a lot of the people in this room right now have learned, a few amazing tactics, a bunch of amazing tactics from all of our various speakers up here over the weekend. But can you just expand upon that a little bit for people, the difference between the two and how tactics drive strategy and you're best at explaining it. So
yeah, and this is probably going to take us, like on a really interesting ride. I'm going to share with them what I just did. This is perfect. Okay, so I flew from Baltimore, Maryland this morning. I woke up at about 3:20 a.m. I wish I could show that picture I showed to you. So I'll just tell it as best as I can. So I was at a martial arts event, and I was very honored to be chosen as something called an Atomo. Anyone know Aikido, the martial art of Aikido? Aikijitsu, Jiu-Jitsu, Aikido. I've done martial arts my whole life. I've done Jiu-Jitsu, I've done a little bit of Aikijitsu, Judo, and now for the last, I think 15-ish years, I've done Aikido. And our head of our organization is in Hawaii. And once a year, he comes out to the East Coast, and this time it happened to be at one of our sister dojos in Baltimore, Maryland. Anyone here from Maryland? No? No one's representing?
Couple in the back.
It was,
Here we go.
so when I got on the plane this morning, it was freezing and raining. So it was awesome.
So he hates Maryland.
No, I loved it. It was so cool. And the crab cakes, holy crap. Oh, yeah. Amazing. Man, I'd fly over there just for the crab cake, seriously. You can't get crab cakes anywhere else like that, right? You guys agree? Like Baltimore crab cakes? So anyway, about 5 days ago, I flew into Baltimore, Maryland, and I was very nervous, and I was very, very fearful, actually. I was chosen to be a Tomo, and a Tomo in Japanese means great friend. Does anyone speak Japanese? No? Yeah. So O is great, and Tomo is great friend. Not friend in the casual sense that we Americans perceive friendship, like, hey, buddy, what's going on, Misha? What's going on? It's not that kind of friend. It's a honor and respect type of thing. So as a Tomo, you're chosen to be, number one, security, and number two, service to the the head of our organization. And he flew to Baltimore. I was chosen to do that. I was telling Misha, you can't have enough pockets for the stuff you need, right? So I'll give you an example. If he gets up to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night, if I'm not in the same room with him, which on this trip I was not, I'm in an adjacent room, I have to be able to hear him open the door, run out, get my flashlight, and shine it to take him to the bathroom in the middle of the night. Shine it to take him, he follows the dot to his room. And unfortunately, because he was in an adjacent room, I failed miserably. And anyone familiar with Japanese tradition? Like, you don't get compliments. They don't go, hey, good job. They don't. They just tell you when you screw up. So I was really trying hard to and like if we're in a crowd or something and someone bumps into Sensei, and Sensei is your instructor, basically. He's the head of the organization. If someone bumps into him or jostles him or accosts him or anything like that, you might as well just anyway. It's not good. It's like it reflects poorly on my Sensei, and it's just not a good thing to do. So as a Tomo, your job, number one, is security, number two, service. So you have to walk ahead of him through any doors. Here's the interesting thing. You guys know double doors, right? Set of doors, set of doors. Whoever would have thought it would be so freaking complicated to deal with double doors. And so you have to, so basically you have to be in two places at once. If the doors are really far apart, you're screwed. Because here's the thing. It's you walking behind and to the left of Sensei until there's a crowd or something, then you have to get in front of them. But you're walking behind and you see the restaurant and you're, oh shit, double doors, no! And so you gotta run ahead You have to open the first set of doors, and there's a bunch of other senseis coming. Sorry to get in front of Misha. There's a bunch of other senseis coming too. You can't let the doors slam on them, but you have to open the second door and enter the room first before sensei gets in there to make sure everything's clear and he's secure. So it looks like, kind of like, if they're close together and you're lucky to have that, it looks kind of like this. And someone hopefully will grab the door before it slams. And you get up there and you're like, clear the room, and you're like, okay, you're good. The Phoenix has arrived, So that's like how everything's got a protocol, and it's very humbling to serve in that capacity. And people go, what would you do that for? And
that's what I said.
Yeah. So it actually comes full circle to your question. What's the difference between tactics and strategy? Martial arts is not about techniques. It's not about tactics. It's an art. It's about depth, it's about meaning, and it's about strategy. That's what martial arts is. It teaches you strategy. It teaches you discipline. It teaches you to be present so you can anticipate the future. Do you think those are worthwhile in business as well? Yeah. Absolutely, right? So that was my last 4 days. I've had a collective of 7 hours of sleep in the last 4 days. And this morning I was up, back to the picture. So I get up at 3:20. I was pushing it because you're supposed to get up 40 minutes before sensei. I was like, 40 minutes? Holy crap, that's like freaking 2:50 a.m. And I had to wash his gi, and he didn't want it dried because it shrinks. So I was up till almost 2:30 air drying, because it only gives us 30 minutes on the dryer. So you do 30 minutes, you push the freaking button, it's like, and the damn thing wasn't drying. So I was up till 2:30. I must have put it on for, at least 4 hours of freaking air dry. And I know he did it on purpose. The gi's not going to shrink. Are you kidding me? It's such BS. So anyway, so I get the gi dried, I get it packed, I crash, I collapse, and like my alarm goes off. I was like, I'm not getting up at 2:50, screw that. So I get up at 3:20. I'm like, I could totally get ready in 10 minutes and get sensei up. So I get up, I'm like, tired as hell. I walk to the room, sensei, wake up call. Sensei, wake, very humble, wake up call. He's like, okay, hey, come in here. I'm like, oh shit, what did I do? He's like, I want to repack my bags. I'm like, are you kidding me? We have to leave in 30 minutes. I get up at 3:20, he gets up at 3:30, we have to leave by 4. I have to make his tea at the same time as I'm packing his bags at the same time. I'm like, no! So I'm like, I help him get repacked. I'm like, okay, I'm good. And he calls, so we have our host, and then my sensei from my dojo at the house as well, and he calls all of us into the bedroom. He goes, hey, tell Walsh and Walsh sensei and the other sensei, come in the bedroom. And so I'm like, oh crap, I really screwed something up. So we walk upstairs, Squeaky, that's how I knew if he was going to go downstairs and try to sneak away, because he tries to sneak away to catch me off guard. whole nother story. So go up the stairs, enter the bedroom, and he pulls out his phone, and he shows me a picture, and I wish I could show you guys, and he was staying in one of the girls' bedrooms, and on the bed was a bunch of stuffed animals, like a bunch of stuffed animals, and they were arranged really in a cute thing. When we got there, I didn't know that, but he showed me the picture on the phone, and he goes, a good Otomo wouldn't have to have his sensei take a picture to have the bed made the same way that it was when he got there. A good Otomo would think 4 days ahead, take the picture, and make the bed. So at 3:30 a.m., I helped him pack his bags, and I had to set up 18 different stuffed animals in exactly the same way as the picture was before getting to the airport so we wouldn't miss our flight to be here with you guys. But back to your point. I told you it would be a windy road.
Is what running an online business is like.
Yes. But in all seriousness, it's all in the details, and it's all in the strategy, and it's all about thinking ahead. And you can only think ahead if you're firmly rooted in the present moment right now. You see what I'm saying? The more flustered I get, the more I'd screw up. But the more rooted in the present I was, and the more strategic I was about what I was doing and planning the day, the more effective I was at being an Otomo. In business, strategy is all about having the ability to anticipate what's going to happen and problem solving.
Yep.
And that takes being present, firmly rooted in the present, but anticipating the future and being able to see ahead and being strategic about what happens in the future. Does that make sense, guys? Yes. Awesome.
Awesome. So, who here got a ton of value out of Tyson's presentation just a minute ago? Yeah? Yeah? And who here was kind of sucked in to Tim's story just now when he started telling the story? So remember, again, look at it from a marketing perspective and then also, again, the consumer perspective, and realize that, again, when we're telling stories, how engaging it is for all of you and how much of a master Tim is at it, and how, again, every lesson should have a story and every story should have a lesson for those who attended the workshop. But awesome stuff.
Thank you.
Cool. So my next question, you're in a unique kind of category of one of those individuals who I feel like there's a lot of people out there who have created success, and there are, very few people who have created success and managed to have their students over and over and over again go out and create success on their own with their own businesses. And you're one of the people who have literally really created a movement with, your first original attraction marketing. You're the godfather of attraction marketing. Who here has heard of attraction marketing in the room? I didn't mention the first introduction, but Tim is essentially the founder of attraction marketing. We've talked about Mike Dillard a few times over the course of the weekend. Tim was Mike Dillard's original mentor. We've talked about the power of mentorship throughout the entire weekend. Tim has been the mentor to so many people who have created such an impact in this industry. And what's kind of the difference that you see between the individual who is successful and the person who isn't? Because what I say is that, again, we give the same tactics and the same strategies in our courses and our mentorship programs to everyone. But some people go out and crush it, and some people don't. And what do you see in the people who really go out and crush it?
Great question. I love good questions. So first of all, I didn't do any of that. I appreciate it, but I didn't do it, and that's the key. They did it. And a true mentor measures his success in his ability to help, not do, help his students, his or her students have results and have success. And that doesn't come from spoon-feeding information. It comes from teaching people leadership. Huge difference between, again, tactical and technique and leadership and mentorship. Very, very different. True mentorship is about empowering and imbuing skills and behaviors that create real and lasting results, that help people, instead of just giving them the answer, to become resourceful and figure out things for themselves. And so that's, I think, the key for me is if you ask me a question, usually I'm going to ask you a question back. And it pisses people off, and I'm not trying to be like a annoying Zen type person. I'm just wanting to help, and this I learned from one of my mentors, Blair Dunkley, Melissa Dunkley. They're my mentors. They're awesome, amazing people. Is that results don't come from giving people answers. It comes from asking effective questions. Yep. And so when I have anything that I need to solve, I don't look for a better answer. I actually look for what's a more effective question. Yep. And I teach other people how to do the same thing. And yeah, I have to fill in a little bit, but in order to ensure that they get it, I have to ask questions. So what did you understand about that? So actually, let's do this right now. Can we just do something really quick? Can you turn to your neighbor and explain to them in your own words the difference between, your feeling of the difference between a tactic and a strategy? Go ahead. They were falling asleep.
I know, a little bit. A little bit.
You can give an example if you'd like. 15 seconds. 5 seconds. Stop. It took you way too long to explain that. Clearly you're not getting this. I'm just kidding. So what do you think I did that for? To engage you and wake you up, but because you guys were like... That was one reason, but there's another reason. What do you think that was? It caused you to think, because you had to put it in your own words. So you had to process what you thought strategy and tactics meant to you, right? So do you think that that's a more effective way to teach than to just tell people information? Yes. Now here's the cool thing. Raise your hand if you got a lot of valuable information this last few days. Absolutely. And it's awesome. But until you distill that information and you take that and you go, okay, where am I really now? Like what is true now? Where do I want to be? I call it Suckville, Awesome Town. And there's always a new Suckville, no matter how well you're doing. Here and now is Suckville, and I say it jokingly, but there's always another place you want to be. And I call it, well, we'll do it this way. Suckville here, Awesome Town here, right? And it's important to know where Suckville and Awesome Town is. Suckville is where you are now. You're in Suckville right now.
Yep.
I'm in Suckville right now. And it's not really Suckville, but it's being aware of where you are versus where you want to be and understanding the gap between the two. Those are your bumpers. So you want to learn how to take these tactics that you learned and some strategies and put them into your game plan, into your strategy to get the results you want. You have to be clear about where you are now and where you want to be. Does that make sense? Yeah. And then you have to go reverse engineer and go, what are the things that need to happen in order for me to incrementally get closer to my intended result? That's it. That's a strategy. Now, a strategy is awesome because you have the milestones, but you have to add one more element. And that other element is an action plan. So, okay, the first milestone, what are the things that I might do starting now? What are the 3 to 5 things that I might do today to get me closer to that first milestone? That's your action plan. It's in the context of your strategy, which is in the context of where you are right now to where you want to be. And that's how you take information that you've been given this entire weekend and create a roadmap to get from where you are now to
where you want to be.
Where you want to be. Right? So, now turn to your neighbor and explain in your own words, and I'm going to give you 45 seconds. You should be able to do it in 30. So 15 seconds each. For you, where is Suckville? And for you, where is Awesome Town? As clearly and succinctly as possible. Ready? On your marks. Get set. Go!
Ding, 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 ding.
It's supposed to be an interview.
Hey, rolled it. Whew, I needed that beer.
Yes, sir. Don't repeat what your neighbor said, you cheaters, in your own words. I might need to give him an extra couple seconds. All right, 10 seconds. And time. Now.
Good pickup.
That's awesome. Your AV guys are
That
awesome.
was awesome.
Okay, so did both you and your neighbor get a chance to explain? Raise your hands. Yes. Okay, raise your hands if you did not both get a chance. Be honest. Tell your neighbor to stop talking so much and give you some damn time. Jeez. But in all seriousness, like the structure I gave you was a certain period of time, and I asked you to explain in your own words, and I gave you the amount of time. So what does that tell you about that? What do you need to do? Structure. So you need to go, okay, this is my boundary between the amount of time that I have to get from Suckville to Awesometown. In this case, it's micro Suckville. I have to explain in this amount of time what Suckville is and what Awesometown is. You've got your bumpers. So you explain that in that period of time. And if you don't do it in that period of time, then you've gone outside the lines and you got to figure out how to do it more succinctly, because you should be able to do this very clearly, very quickly, and very effectively. Seriously, this is what it takes. Suckville is not, my life sucks, my job sucks, I hate it. It's what's true. It's what's true now. Here's where I am. Specifically now. That's it. Like I'm in a job, working from 9 to 5, and I'm not enjoying it, and I want to go here. I want to be at this level. And what does that look like for you? Specifically, right? I want to be in my business that's earning this much passive income per month, so that I can do this and have that, right? That's it. Just succinctly where you want to be. And you have to be able to visualize yourself being there. That's the kind of clarity you have to have. I can't go into S-Smart. I can't do any of that stuff. Hopefully, maybe JT will give you an opportunity to hear what S-Smart is. It's not smart. It's S-Smart. Teasing him. So guys, and that's one of the things I learned as an Atomo too, is sometimes you get set up to fail, but it teaches you a lesson. And the wisdom is not in information. The wisdom is understanding how to apply that information and understanding what mistakes you made so that you can do it more effectively the next time. That's it. Business is a constant, ongoing, everyday problem-solving process. Oh, that didn't work. What might I try differently? Oh, that did work. That's all it is, right? And again, something I want to give credit where it's due. Blair Dunkley taught us what worked, what didn't work, what might I do differently. Actually, write those down. What worked about that, or what worked? 3 things. We call it the 3-2-1. What worked? 3 things. What didn't work? 2 things. What might I do differently? 1 thing. Now, this applies everywhere. Oh, shit, my Facebook ad campaign failed. Well, okay, does that make you a failure? No, it just means that campaign didn't work. Well, what about it didn't work specifically? 3 things. 3 things that did work. What worked? So 3 things that did work. And it's like, well, nothing worked. My ad sucked. It failed. Well, no. Number 1, you set up a Facebook ad. That worked, right? You've got data, right? Because if you don't set up an ad, you don't have data, and you don't understand Facebook. What else worked? Help me out, guys.
Approved?
It got approved. That worked. You got it not approved. What else worked, guys? Or maybe you got a click.
Yep.
Right? Those 3 things worked. So are you a failure because your ad didn't work now, or are you going, hey, what did work? You got 3 things. Now let's talk about what didn't work. Well, my click-through rate might have sucked. What else might have not worked? No sales, right? So those didn't work. Then you take that information, you go, what's one thing I might do differently now? That takes you out of, I suck, my ad sucks, I don't know how to do Facebook advertising, to, you know what, this is what business is. It's problem solving constantly. And you teach solo ads, same exact thing. It's a different process, but it's the same evaluation process, because there's always the ability to go and look at what specifically did work, didn't work, and what you might do differently. YouTube marketing, anything that you do, you can look at it and go, what worked, what didn't work, what might I do differently? 3, 2, 1. And you can create ongoing incremental. It's not going to be a straight line growth. It's going to be a little bit of this. If I want to go from this end of the stage to the other end of the stage, what do I have to do? Walk? What worked about what I just did? What I moved from where? From there to here. What else worked? What's that? I know what didn't work. That worked. Right? So that's what business is. And the more you do that, what worked, what didn't work, and again, Blair Dunkley, one of my best mentors, the more I do the evaluation process, I don't have to walk 5 steps before I evaluate. I could walk 1 step, and I can go, What worked? Well, I moved forward, but I kind of did it at an angle. Well, what didn't work? Oh, I was at an angle. What might I do differently? I might change the angle, right? So when you said walk, that's what most people do. And what most people do is imagine there's a wall here. They go, I'm gonna make this happen. Oh, you could be my wall. It's cool. No, stay right there. Yeah, no, stand up. Let's do it. All right. Suckville. This is Suckville right here. All right. Awesome Town's past Misha, right? Now, what's the biggest tactic that you teach your people? And I apologize, I was not here this week, and so I didn't hear everything. What's your biggest marketing tactic?
Traffic generation?
Traffic generation. Let's talk about
Solo ads.
Solo ads. Okay. I need to set up a successful solo ads that gets me clicks, that gets me leads, that gets me sales, right? So all I need to do is send out a solo ad, right? That's it, and I can have success. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to copy the script that I was giving verbatim exactly. I'm going to go to the exact same list that everyone else is going. I'm going to put it in there. It's going to freaking work. Here I go. Boom. Misha said it would work because you got these scripts. Scripts are scripts to give you the ability to have a structure. Yep. They're not spoon-feeding you information. That's all they are. But if every one of us took Misha's scripts and we said, okay, solo ad. God, I suck. Let me try it again. Oh, I still suck. That's it, I quit. I'm done. Is that effective or ineffective? So what do I need to do to get around Misha?
Adjust.
Yeah, evaluate it, right? And figure out what worked, what didn't work, what might I do differently, right? Do you understand now, and I know this is supposed to be a damn interview.
No, it's perfect.
But you make a good wall. So
perfect.
You're like, he's a big dude. So every time I see him, I'm like, damn, you're big. And I really bumped up against you.
Damn, he's smart.
But the point of business is if you keep doing the same exact thing over and over again and expect a different result, that's the definition of
insanity.
Right? And all you have to do, really, to succeed in business is evaluate and figure out what worked, what didn't, what might I do differently, and just do that thing differently. Yeah. And eventually, you're going to get closer to where you want to go. And it's not going to be a straight line ever in business. It's going to be this. Yep. If you're evaluating enough, it's going to look like this. And sometimes you're going to go, oh, whoa, I'm on the precipice. Ooh, oh. And you go, what worked? What didn't work? What might? And you go, okay, let me try. Oh, okay. And that's just business. And so if you really want to learn how to be successful, everything that we just talked about, strategy versus tactics, leadership versus dictatorship, I didn't talk about that. But those that master tactics and get really good at them, but don't master leadership, they can have success that looks like this, like I did. But leadership requires skills and behaviors that actually create lasting change and help other people to be successful. To grow a company, where a company becomes successful, it's not about how good the leader is, it's how effective the organization works. It's how effective, if you have outsourcers, it's not, like you have to be able to manage those outsourcers, and you have to be able to paint the picture of Suckville and Awesome Town so you can get them enrolled in what you're trying to do and get them to actually help you do it versus just you telling them exactly what to do, because then everything is on your shoulders. And that's just a fact. I know this is kind of over some of your guys' head. I apologize, but it's really actually a principle that's true in all areas of business. So,
well, remember back to day one, what's one of the super affiliate laws? Never quit. Right? And what did I teach within the context of that lesson? That failure is simply a feedback mechanism. And the only way you truly fail is if you let one of your small micro failures, like Tim's talking about, allow it to go ahead and knock you off your course and bring you to the point of quitting, right? I'd be willing to bet that Tim has experienced some failures in the last month. Am I correct?
Oh, in the past few days, guys.
Yeah, just like he said.
Like when Sensei tells you what you did wrong, you put your head down, you go, yes, Sensei. Yes, Sensei. Sorry, Sensei. Here you go, Sensei. Like, so you think I'm joking? Like, that's what I've heard for the past 4 days. And if I could go, well, I'm a terrible Otomo. I can't do this. I can't do it. And I felt like that a couple times. And I was like, well, how do you gain wisdom? How do you gain true leadership and true skills? You don't go, I suck. You go, what might I do differently? Yeah. That's it. That's the lesson, and I love what you just said, Misha. You're a master at that. So you remember how I said Misha did it much faster than me? He unconsciously was more competent than me, a lot faster, and that's how he's been able to do what he's been able to do, and it's super, super impressive, my friend. Big hand for Misha.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Awesome. So, thank you. And on the topic, I mean, we're talking kind of about, again, failure, and we're talking about how failure is just kind of a feedback mechanism. But still, I'm a believer. I think one of our common mentors says that smart people learn from their failures, and wise people learn from the failures of others. Mm-hmm. And I know it looks really cool when you host an event like this. You have people in a room, you get to talk about your accomplishments, you get to talk about everything you've been able to do. But you guys have heard some of my failures, right? You guys have heard how many times I've done just stupid shit that's gotten me in situations that I've not wanted to be in, and I've had to problem solve my way out of them, right? And so, Tim, could you just kind of bring some of our people into maybe a few of your failures that you've experienced, because I'm sure you've experienced quite a few throughout your journey, to maybe allow them to either avoid them or just understand that they actually happened, so they understand that if they're at a point where they're failing a little bit more, they should just keep going. Sure.
So I think one of the things that's led to the most failures is probably lack of evaluation. Mm-hmm. Like, hey, things that seem like great ideas, like Keith talks about.
Yep. Every mistake,
everything,
great idea.
Yeah. So a lot of us have belief systems, we have ideas, we have things that we kind of hold on to as true, but they're really unexplored or unevaluated. What's that called? What's another word for that? Assumption. Mm-hmm. And what does assumption really stand for? I learned this in the military. Making an ass out of you and me. So if you think of assumption, ass out of you and me. Assume is ass out of you and me, right? So that's really what an assumption. So it's untested, unqualified, internal. It's not evaluated. So an assumptive type of approach to business doesn't work. It's like shotgun marketing. It's like throwing mud against the wall and seeing what sticks and hoping it's going to work. So every single failure that I've had, and I've had many, many of them, is usually based on untested assumptions, things that I didn't realize or understand. So what don't I see? Yep. Like, it's great. Opportunities are awesome. Would you guys agree on opportunity is a great thing? Yeah. But only in the context of the risk. Because if the opportunity is here and the risk is here, I'll be honest with you guys, I played the lotto the first time, day before yesterday. I didn't buy the ticket. One of the host sensei bought all of us a ticket, and I'm like, oh shit, I don't want this. Because now if one of us wins, how are we going to set up a I was thinking in my head, I'm like, how are we going to do this? And everyone, is still cool. And it's like, someone might be killed in their sleep tonight. Like, I don't. But the risk of a lottery ticket is very minimal, right? And the opportunity is high. But also, what's the probability of success? Yeah. Not very high. So that's hopeful, wishful, right? So all these things have to be measured together. Opportunity, risk, probability. Yeah. And anytime one of those three things is missing, I usually ends up in catastrophe unless I'm extremely lucky, which I have been lucky before. So, I mean, like hiring people is one example, like bringing on people that shouldn't be on the team. Yep. In my early days. I need this done. You have that skill set, you do it. Boom, throwing it over the fence and hoping that he or she will catch it and make it happen. That's one example. I've done that multiple times. It's been heartache, pain, or trusting. Yep. Trusting people to have integrity. Yep. And perform something for you and not run and go and compete against you. Yep. Like stuff like that. So things like that have happened in the past. And every time it's cost money, it's cost time, it's cost heartache. So what worked, what didn't, what might I do differently, right? Well, what worked was we got a result for a time or we got feedback, right? Yep. We got feedback on our failure. Yep. You pick those things that worked and you go, okay, what didn't work? And then you're supposed to stick to two. You guys aren't going to stick to 2 because you're going to beat yourselves up. You're going to go, this didn't work, 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 and this didn't work, and this didn't work, and oh, I sucked. And then you're going to get all like pissed off at yourself again. Don't do that. Try to stick to what's the 2 things, the biggest things that did not work. And then what's one thing I might do differently? Try that. Just try it. Will you guys agree to try that? Raise your hand if you agree to try that. Yes. Okay, for those of you that didn't raise your hands, you guys are just going to remain stuck forever. So I'm going to ask you again. Actually, stand up and say yes. Who's committed to trying that? Stand up and say yes. 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 Still people are sitting down. Are you serious right now? All right, take your seats. You guys are like, man, it's Sunday. Is this guy ever going to shut up and stop talking? I just want to have a beer, man. They're sitting there on stage drinking beers. This is not cool. Anyway.
So it sounds like, again, take action, measure, adjust. Take action, measure, adjust.
Absolutely.
2 things that you could do differently, 2 things that didn't work, and then 1 thing you could do differently.
3 that worked, 2 that didn't work, 1 you might do differently.
3 that worked, 2 that didn't work, 1 you might do differently.
And write down Blair Dunkley.
Yeah.
Blair Dunkley.
Why should they write down?
Yeah. He's got a webinar every Tuesday night.
Yeah.
And look it up. You'll find him. I'm not going to give the domain. It's something to do with wiring the mind. Just look up Blair Dunkley, wiring the mind.
If you have it.
What's that?
You can give the domain if you have it.
I don't remember it. If it's rewiring the mind. What's that? 9 o'clock East Coast. So how many of you guys are on that?
I'll watch it sometime.
Yeah, I've been on a couple too. So I've actually. Oh, hi, Betty. So I recommend that. I just again want to give credit where it's due. Blair's awesome. He's amazing. He's helped me so much.
And again, like one of the themes of the weekend, mentorship, right? Tim's talking about a mentor that he's still currently working with. And it's an ongoing process. And one of the things I try to kind of get across to our students is I think a lot of people look at success as a destination and not a process. And I know that I fell into that trap when I first got started. And you hit that first goal and you think you're going to feel some different way. And then you get there and you're like, oh, I'm still kind of the same person. Now I'm just making 10 grand a month. And then you're like, all right, well, let's set this next thing, right? And if you can't actually enjoy the process, if you don't get in the habit of the continual activities on a daily basis that will drive long-term success, and if you don't embrace the overall process, Tim's been going like this a lot, right? You're going to be on that roller coaster. And I've been on that before too, and it's not any fun, and it leads to a few too many premature gray hairs.
And you said something key that I want to kind of build on. You said you get to your destination and you're still the same person. Eventually, you have to change to be the person that you need to be to get to your next destination. Otherwise, you stall out, you hit a plateau, and worse, you crash and burn. It's not sustainable to stay where you're at in your leadership ability. You always have to be growing. Like Suckville becomes the new or Awesome Town becomes the new Suckville. And it's fun. Like I say Suckville jokingly. In the beginning, it is Suckville. Like how many of you guys are now at a job that you don't like? Be honest. Like or just working and you want more. How many of you don't have the kind of freedom that you want to have right now? Raise your hand. Awesome. That's the reason that you're here, right? Like if we could sum up what caused you to be here this weekend, it would be freedom. It would be financial freedom. It would be time freedom. It would be freedom to be with the people that you want to be with. I give credit to Dan Sullivan for that. He has the 3 freedoms: time freedom, financial freedom, relationship freedom. Like that's really, it succinctly sums up what we want and the reason that we're all here today, right? I don't remember where I was going with this. But it was freaking brilliant. So.
I would lead you if I could. I'm not sure though either.
Are you falling asleep too?
I'm almost there.
Do we need to do like the massaging each other's back thing? JT loves it when we do stuff like that. Where's JT? Yeah. Oh, Suckville, Awesome Town, yeah. So the journey and
the difference between you becoming the individual that you need to become.
Yeah. Who do I need to become in order to achieve the result that I want to achieve in my life? And that's like the question I ask myself all the time. Like and the beautiful thing about it is not who do I need to become, it's more what behaviors do I need to have? Because you can't change inherently who you are, but you can absolutely, positively change behaviors. Would you agree with that? So that's really what it's about. It's about changing the behaviors. If I want to be successful like Misha, I will look at what behaviors, what skills Misha's mastered and what behaviors he has, and I will model those. And I will get mentorship from Misha. Here's another one for you guys. This is one of my favorite ones I like to pull out of my bag and kind of go here. Find someone who's got what you want. Learn how to do what they did and get what they got. And you'll get what they got. Like, it's not that hard. That's what mentorship is. And a real mentor, someone like Misha, understands that it's not about spoon feeding, it's about challenging. And the results that you get aren't on him, it's on you. Your results as far as success or failure are on you, period. And mentors will let you know that ahead of time. And Misha will let you know ahead of time. Mentorship is truly about ownership. It's about accountability and personal responsibility. Because nobody else can make you rich. Nobody else can make you free. But you absolutely can get mentors and find mentors that can lead you and show you what they did to become free. And you can get their help in recreating that freedom for themselves. Or for your, you know what I mean. Yep. Anyway. Yep. This damn beer. One beer, I'm a lightweight.
It comes down to the action steps that you take. I'm a lightweight too after 3 days, so.
Yeah.
It's all good. But again, it comes down to the action steps that you take on a daily basis. We've said it over and over again, and the first thing we touched on is about wearing the white belt every single day, right? You need to become the person that you want to be, you need to become the person who's capable of achieving the result that you want to achieve in order to achieve that result. And at the end of the day, if you're not willing to commit to that process, nothing's going to happen. So that's awesome.
Do you want to have people, do you have more questions for me, or what do you want to do?
One more question.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, so the theme of this event was how to go, if you lost it all, no relationships, no list, no skill sets. Well, actually, let's say you have your skill sets.
Oh, then no problem.
You have your skill sets.
What if I don't have, let's give me a handicap, no skill sets.
No skill sets.
All right, great.
What would you do to go from $0 to $10,000 per month as quickly as possible?
Okay, so I want to qualify this. So he said you have your skill sets.
Yep.
The beautiful thing about skills is they are repeatable, duplicatable, and you can use them over and over again to get results. And so if I had my skill sets, it wouldn't be long at all, right? But if I didn't have skill sets and I wanted to know what do I focus on as far as skill sets, that's going to depend on you. And by the way, when I talk about tactical, I'm not saying tactical's not good. I'm saying tactical's great when it's in the context of strategy, and if you want to become a master of your tactic. Like if you want to become a master traffic person, just focus on media buying and traffic generation. And if you master that, you're really, really going to be valuable. You're going to be a valuable asset for other people, or potentially you'll be a valuable resource for, or as a consultant or whatever, right? Or maybe an agency or whatever. But you're limited as a tactician on the amount of leverage that you get, right? However, when I look at what I would need to do in order to get to the results that I want to get, I want to look at the most leverageable and highest return on investment that I could possibly have. And for me, it's very simple. It all comes down to influence.
Yep.
And influence, what is influence to you guys? What does that mean? Yeah, what is influence? Just yell it out. What? Trust, yeah. What else?
Change behavior.
What's that?
Change behavior.
Trained behavior? Change behavior. Change behavior. What else?
Motivation.
What's that? Motivation. Okay. Honesty. Yeah. What else? Integrity. What else? Persuasion. Absolutely. What else? Leadership. So all good. My favorite of those is really just leadership, right? And but going back to influence, where can you use influence? How does it become transferable into a skill set? What is the skill set that you need to learn to have more influence? Give me one skill. There's not just one, but give me one skill set. Come on, guys. Play with me. Communicate. What specifically? What kind of communication? Copywriting. Awesome. What else? Sales. I heard sales. I heard email writing. What's that? Video. Right? All of these are skill sets that create leverage. All of them. And they all come down to influence. Would you guys agree? Like really at the core of it, when you have influence, you do one of two things. You speak or you write. That's it, right? And you do it effectively. Really, that's all. Either speak, write. That's it. Or both, right? Like I can probably like read a teleprompter and like I can write and probably have influence, but that's really what it's about. So effectively writing and or effectively speaking, and that's influence. And doing it in a way that's honest, where you have integrity, where you have trust, whoever said trust, all of that stuff's true. Where you're inspirational, somebody said motivation, I like inspiration better. Motivation's kind of fleeting. It's like I go to an event, I get motivated, woo, and then I go home and then life sucks again. Inspiration's like, I'm in Suckville, I want to be in Awesome Town. Every day I get up, fired up about the 3 to 5 things I might do to get me closer to my goals. That's inspiration. That pulls you to Awesome Town. Does that make sense? Yes. Guys, I know I'm speaking fast here, and there's like little tiny nuggets that can change the game for you, seriously. So like write this stuff down, and everyone here, like I know it's Sunday, it's the last 3 minutes of our time together, but just these little things, I know I'm not getting like, okay, let's log in and let's create, an ad, and I'm not doing that because you've had that this weekend, and that's awesome. I want you guys to walk away and actually apply this. So I want your help. What might you do to take what you've learned this last 3 days and get the results that you want to get? What do you need to do? What's your responsibility when you leave here so that you don't go home and you go, whoa, that was awesome. And then 3 days later, you're like in your routine and life sucks again. What do you need to do? What? Action plan. What else? Content. You guys are doing a lot of stuff, and that's awesome. You're yelling out a lot of stuff. I'm gonna give it to you in a really simple format that you guys can hopefully follow. Where am I now? Yeah, and like we're all in Suckville, and it at first it is, and then it's not, because you're like, oh, I know I can get from here to here. I could probably go from here to here. Yep. Does that make sense? But right now is like get real with where you are, and that's called Suckville. Right. And then establish clarity about where you want to be. What's that called? Awesome Town, not Awesomeville. Everyone screws that up. Awesome Town. Say it. Okay, Awesome Town. And what are the milestones or things that need to happen that you can see that will get you closer? What are the 3, 5, 6, 7 things that need to happen in your business? The big giant hinges that swing over, or the little hinges that swing open the big doors of success for your business. What are they? And I don't know the answer to that, but really get clear on what those things are that get you closer. And then 3 is you have to do what with that? Implement. How are you going to implement? Am I just going to start implementing everything? A structure in the form of, you guys said it earlier. Okay, so the strategy is how do I get from here to here? Yeah. Right? So, action? Plan. You can call it what you want. I like action plan because it's very descriptive of what it does. It's an action plan. I have my daily action plan. I have my weekly action plan of the things that I need to accomplish this week. And every time I check off one of those things, I get closer from Suckville to Awesome Town. And sometimes it looks like this. And sometimes my knees are locked together and it's like, I want to take big steps, but it looks like this. And that's okay because you're moving forward, right? So that's the key, guys. And hopefully this helps you take and put into context all of the great information. You can't do everything every person taught you here. You just can't. So one skill set, pick the one skill set that gives you the leverage that you need to get. And I think that answered the question very, very roundabout way, hopefully.
Everyone get that? Yes. All right. We sure? Yes. So again, where you are, where you want to be, the different critical drivers that'll get you there, the action plan that you can execute upon, and then the daily actions to get there. Make sense? Yes. Awesome.
Cool.
Thank you, brother. Thank you so much for flying out here. Guys, this guy's a champion. He came out with pretty much no sleep for the last 4 days to be here with you guys for a 50-minute talk to impact you in whatever way he could and bring as much value as he can. He always does that with everything he does in his marketing. And I appreciate the impact that you've had on me and our business, and I appreciate you immensely, man. So
thank you, brother. I appreciate
you being out here.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Perfect. Thank you, brother.